Okay, so we've kind of talked a little bit about the separation of variances into price and rate variances for direct materials and direct labor, and also efficiency and usage variances for uh, direct materials and direct labor as well. Well, the value of what we're doing here in applying standard costing is to determine when it's appropriate to take corrective action. All right. Now, there is some judgment to this process, but what we want to think about what we're doing is you'll compute a variance, and then that variance would be investigated further. All right. Um, well, let me say it this way. Some variances, depending upon threshold, how far off of the standard would be investigated. So let's talk a little bit. We're going to look at brief exercise 10-22. Really not much work to do here, but we'll talk through it. And so it gives you, during the last 6 weeks, actual costs for Brennan Company were as follows. So it gives you week by week for 6 weeks. And then it gives you the standard materials cost for each week is $60,000. All right, with an allowable deviation of plus or minus $6,000. All right, many companies do have what we call upper and lower control limits. And so for this particular company, the standard is $6,000, and the control limit is plus or minus. The standard is $60,000, and the control limit is plus or minus $6,000. So we would process this into variances where the costs were below $54,000, which is $6,000 less than the $60,000, would be investigated. We have no variances below the lower control limit of $54,000, right? And again, where I got that $54,000 was the $60,000 standard less the allowable deviation. All right, so there are no weeks that were below the control limit. On the other end, we do also have an upper control limit, which is the $60,000 plus the $6,000, or $66,000. All right. Now, when we look at the data points, weeks 1, 2, and 3 are within control limits and wouldn't require a variance investigation. All right. But weeks 4, 5, and 6 are outside of the allowable deviation, which means that variance investigation would be proper. All right. And this is just a quick and dirty illustration of how control limits are used to help management determine which variances would require further investigation, right? So that you're not chasing things that from an accounting perspective aren't material or don't matter. Okay, that's all for that.